Hi there, this is Linda and I'm back with another Project Life Process video from 2022. This is the week of October 24th through 31st. I messed up the week on purpose. So you'll see that is a little more than 7 days. It's actually, I think, 8 days because the week ran from the 24th to the 30th, but because Halloween is so October-y and October themed, I really wanted it to be part of a week with October supplies and October, as opposed to the only October day in a week that's November themed. So typically in this situation, I would just put the 31st in the next week, which would start off my November spreads using November supplies, but it's Halloween. You can't do that, right? Before I dive in though, I did want to share something with you. So you see I have my album here. So these are all my completed spreads going back, and here's all my empty spreads going forward. And something I do, it is now late November, so I'm working maybe like 3 or 4 weeks behind. So I put my sticky note here where I include my notes for what happened that week, which come from the Day One app. I don't put those during the week. So I do have my sticky notes here for later weeks, but there's no notes yet. But what I will do is I will print my photos out and keep them in just a cheap 8.5 by 11 page protector from Staples in between the spread where they go. So I know that I already have my photos printed and I can just pull it out when I'm ready to create. You can see I have that here already for this week, but I don't have anything else in there. I will also include ephemera in these pockets. So if I collected something during the week, I will just stick it in there. And then this time I put my supplies in here because I had them out while I was selecting my photos, and it just didn't make sense to put it back away, that just to take them out again. So I just stuck them in here and stored it in my album while I was getting ready to work on this spread. Now that I am ready to put it together, I pulled my album out, my sticky note is here, everything I need is in this pocket, and I'm ready to go. So what I'm going to do is put you on fast forward for a little. I'm going to take this out of my album, crop all of my photos out, and then I will pop back on here and walk you through my process of laying out this spread. Okay, so I have my photos cropped and I have my kit here. I'm working with the Ali Edwards Stories by the Month kit from the month of October. This year I was using this kit for the last week of every month, and I've been using the repeated cards every time. So I'm always using this one as my title card. And then let's see, there are 4 repeated 3x4 cards in this kit that I'm always using. So that's these 4 right here. So I know I'm going to use those cards. I don't know about the other ones yet, but I'm just going to lay out what I have and see what I need. So I don't have a lot of 4x6 photos this week. Actually, I just didn't take a lot of 4x6 photos. I haven't been taking a ton of 4x6 photos lately because I have been taking a lot of photos for stories. I've been sharing a lot more stories on Instagram, and that has kind of led to me taking more vertical photos rather than horizontal, which is fine, but I just haven't had it. I don't have as many vertical photos when it comes time to put them on my spread here. So what I ended up, or don't have as many horizontal, sorry. So then what I end up doing is I printed more 3x4 photos, and I'm going to use them in some of these 4x6 pockets. I'm just kind of laying them out randomly right now just to get an idea of what I have and what I need. But I don't really have like a a set layout yet. I don't like the white next to the white, so I'm definitely not going to do something like that. But I'm just seeing like how many extra cards do I need before I dig into these, right? So these are almost just like a placeholder to know how many spaces I have. So I always use this one to reflect on the month and this one to list out gratitudes from the month. And these two are 4 stories from this week. My only 4x6 photos this week were this one my daughter sent me from a football game she went to. And I tend to put my favorite 4x6 photo here. I didn't even have a good photo this week that's kind of blurry, but it's, you know, the only one I really have. And then I have this one that I took a flat lay of all of the candy I was handing out this year for Halloween, because I think that that's kind of fun to see what I purchased to hand out. So I did that, but this is on a white background, so I don't want white cards next to it, because not only is it just a lot of white, so it's not very balanced, this is much a brighter white than I can get editing a photo. And this kind of draws attention to the fact that this isn't a perfect white. So putting them not next to each other helps with that. So now I'm gonna look through my cards here. So I have this nice pattern, October, and then I have these like prompt ones, and then a quote one. So I do have a lot of empty space, so I think that this quote one is gonna be really good to include in one of these 4x6 spots. And then I'm trying to decide if I want to include this one. I do also like the idea of using this one to kind of include, to cut these out and put them on different things from this week, on photos and stories. So that is an idea. And I'm gonna see what other cards I have here. This is a cute pattern one. Just slide this up so there's space here. Space for a story, more, and then I do love this card. So I do think I want to include this one, but I don't want these two together. So maybe I'm gonna put this one here, and this one here. So let's see, I need to see how many stories I have. So this is just for my random bullet point stories. And then I think this can be my Halloween story, which isn't, you know, there really wasn't that much. And then I have some just like random stories. I guess Saturday could be a good one to have as a story. Though I don't want that because this is Halloween. So I think I'm gonna use that. There's not really a Halloween themed card. I think that's because they did the Halloween kit this year, but I do have some Halloween supplies from older years and I could pull out, but I'm not sure I need to because I have this chipboard, which these don't really stay in the backer anymore. But this one says, Boo Happy Halloween. So I think I could do that, like that. And then I think I could do one of these lovings on here. And then, let's see, October Magic. So the problem with these is I'm not sure I have space for all 6 of them because I definitely don't want to put anything on that photo because it's just gorgeous. Or this one because it's also gorgeous. You know, I actually kind of want to do that, be more balanced. I could put one on here, so that's 2. I don't think I could fit one on there without covering part of the photo. So I just have 2 on this side. I could put one on this one, I think. I definitely could put one on here. So I have 3 at least. 4, 5. And then I could use one for my titles. Kind of like that. And then gonna kind of put these to the side. This one's kind of fun, but I don't actually do that because I'm pretty good about not eating the candy, but it still might be kind of fun to use on here. I'll think about it. My daughter likes to eat the candy. Okay, so I think that is kind of a good starting place. I want to get my scissors and cut these out, which is going to allow me to kind of use them as little journaling spots like I was discussing when I'm trying to plan out. So I was trying to make sure that I had a spot for all of them. And, you know, I don't really need to. So these are numbered 1 through 6, but there's nothing saying that I have to include 6, right? I could choose that I only need 5, and I could choose to just not use the 6th one. I tend to not like to do that. I feel like I'm wasting a product, but really I'm using the card. So it doesn't really matter that much if I don't use one of them, right? It's not that big of a deal. And there's no reason to pressure yourself to not use a product or, you know, to put it in your stash because you don't need quite as many numbers as it has on it, right? Like, use your products. It's much better to just use the 5 than not use any of them, because then you have 6 that are just sitting there wasted, waiting for, you know, another project, but there's always going to be more supplies. So it's better to just use what you have. So let's see, I've got that. And then put this one here on that movie. I watched a lot of movies this week. And if you've been following me for a while, you know, a lot of times in my project life, I don't journal my stories in a chronological fashion. So I don't necessarily say, you know, I did this and this, this on Monday and this on Tuesday. Instead, I group a lot of my stories by themes. So I'm going to just journal on there about all the movies I watched this week. And not really care, you know, which ones I did on which days. That is a photo of me watching The Sixth Sense, but that was not the only movie I watched this week. And I'm just going to document the fact that I was kind of like on a little movie kick. Honestly, I think I only watched like 2 movies, but yeah, I only watched 2 movies, but that's a lot for me because I don't normally watch movies. I normally am more of a TV show person. Then this one, like, who cares? I can cover some of that up. It was more just like a background thing. And then this one, I'm going to include on this Halloween one. And then this one will go on my candy. So I do want to use some of those chipboard pieces, but my priority is really going to be to get these stories in here and to use these loving cards. So that's why I'm doing them first. I did put that October Magic one and the Halloween one, but I could put one of these here instead. I don't know. I really like that one, and I can't think of a story to tell. I guess I can talk about the leaves and how they needed to be raked, but I don't know that that happened this weekend. I think that actually happened the following weekend that they got raked. This was the week I was thinking about how they need to be raked. Didn't actually do it. Okay, so there we go. Now what I'm thinking is this looks very unbalanced, right? I've got 4 on this side, 2 on this side, and they're both right here together. So I'm gonna fix that. First, I'm gonna switch this up here. So this is Halloween, and this is gonna be journaling about Halloween. So this whole thing can kind of be Halloween. So I'm actually gonna move this photo, which is not Halloween, and switch it with this one, which is. And those all go together as one story. Okay, so then we have this section here, and none of these photos have one of these lovings, right? So I feel like I need to move something over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch something here. So I'm gonna move this one here and switch it with this one. And then I don't like those 2 next to each other, so I am actually gonna put this one here and this one here, like that. And let's see, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, the only concern I have now is that they're kind of top heavy on this one. So I don't really like that that is up there, that those two are right next to each other, but I don't have another big photo to put there. So my options are to put 3x4s here, or to put this one up here and put this one down here. But I do really like how these colors all go. So I'm not gonna move that. I'm just trying to think if I wanna like shift something else around, right? These are the things I have to think through, and it takes a while, but you know, I think it's worth it, right? Because in the end, you get this nice spread that you are happy with. Okay, so I like that better. I don't normally like to put journaling up here next to my title. I normally really like having a 4x6 photo there, but that is just like one of my personal rules. It's not a real rule. So why do I need to do that, right? I can just move it around and make the spread look balanced. Those kind of personal rules that I follow in my layout are more just kind of a jumping off point. So I'm gonna see, I've got 3 cards left, and I don't think I have any reason to use them. I really like this more and less one, but I don't really have a story to tell with it or photos, so I'm not gonna use that. One little October story. I mean, I could use that here instead of that one, but this is the one I use every month. So I'm really only including these 2 extra 3x4s, and I don't want to swap that one out. And this one, I could do this rather than this card. So actually I'm gonna kind of look at what that looks like to do this. So I do really like the orange. I kind of like the blue. So I was wanting to do the orange one because it's Halloween, but because this is orange, I feel like this contrast is better. So I think I'm gonna actually do that. And okay, so now let's see here if we wanna do any chipboard. I kind of like, so the love this and not this. I always struggle with those because I don't typically have both opposites in a spread unless I plan it ahead of time. There's a lot of highs and lows. Lately I've been feeling tired, and here's the reason. I like that one because it totally fits. Problem is I don't have space to journal about it. Yeah, I don't have a place to write about that. Beautiful messes all over. That one actually could work for the leaves too, but I like the October Magic. And something to keep in mind, whenever it has the name of the month on it, I want to use it faster because this could be used any month of the year. That can only be used in October. Here, this heart, I do like this one. So I'm thinking maybe I could use this either onto this photo. I think I like that. I especially like because it's blue and it's a repeat of this pattern. So it brings it onto this side and it matches this color here, which I think just ties together really well. Okay, so that is that. I don't know that I'm going to want to add any additional embellishments. I think that this is good. I think all I need to do now is adhere stuff down. So the only question is, do I want to add something else onto these? And if I did, I think I would use this and maybe some other like puffy embellishment. So, you know, I am gonna keep that in mind and just put that aside for now. I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys on fast forward, adhere everything down, do my journaling, fill this card in, and then I will come back on here to finish out the spread.
Okay, so I'm just gonna dive right in and work on sticking down these loving cards. So as you saw in the introduction, there are 6 of these, and I found 6 different places to put them on the spread. I struggled to find places for all of them, and as I had said, you can skip some of them if it doesn't work for your spread, but I was able to find spots for them because I did need a base for my dates. On this card right here, it didn't quite fit, so I decided to turn it sideways because I didn't want to cut off part of the word loving. And I like how that kind of goes along the side as I do my journaling. And I just journaled on that card about the various movies I watched this week. It turned out I had watched 3 different movies. On this card right here in this photo, I added the chipboard heart and added a word phrase strip on it and then cut it off. I should have done that word phrase strip before I adhered the heart to the card because it would have been easier to cut, but it is what it is. It ended up working. I'm using my favorite Zebra Blend to do my journaling. This pen is a great gel pen. I love it so much for journaling, for scrapbooking. I don't use it for planning because it doesn't work in the Hobonichi planners. It just smears too much. It takes too long to dry for that paper, but it's so great for regular scrapbooking. It's just so smooth and it doesn't smear when I write on scrapbooking paper. And I do have that linked down in the description box because I have gotten a lot of questions about that pen on these videos. I'm just adhering these 2 cards back side to side with some washi tape on the back so that they won't shift around in that 4x6 pocket. For this one, because I'm putting this on a 4x6 card, I like to put the photo over just slightly so that you can see part of the background card poking out the other side. I just kind of like how it staggers the 3x4s rather than keeping that solid grid on the page. It just adds a little bit of interest to me. And then here I'm just journaling about Halloween and I added that boo sticker. On this photo of candy, I'm journaling about how this was all the candy that I handed out this year. I thought it would be super fun to take a flat lay of the candy that I handed out and just journal, what did I purchase this year to hand out? Because I think that that's so fun to look back on. And I'm very happy that I took that photo. In the intro, I had discussed how that card that says October was going to hold journaling about Halloween, but between those 2 loving journaling spots, I really didn't need it. So I am going to use that card to journal about some other stuff I did this week, and I'll do that off camera. Now I'm moving on to this moments card. The colors on this card are kind of dark this month, so I decided to pull out my white pens, and I ended up using this white gel pen. This pen is a Jelly Roll pen, and it's the 10-point size from, I think it's Sakura. And I will try to link that for you in the description box as well. I think it works really well for a white pen for journaling. And I think even if you tend to like a narrower tip pen for white, I think that using a thick tip helps you get that bold color that's much more easily read. I went in my stash and pulled out this die cut that says spooky. It's a pumpkin for Halloween because I wanted something a little more Halloween on this card and felt like it could use some more decoration. And I ended up having to move everything over so that it would fit without covering the journaling. And I really like how that turned out. On this October gratitudes card, I'm just writing some reflections of 5 things that I'm grateful for that happens in the month of October. I've really enjoyed doing that practice every month. For this October is card, I decided I was going to stamp some phrases just about things from this October or October in general that I really like. But before I started stamping, I decided I wanted to finish up some of the other cards. So I moved on and adhered these cards together. I added a word phrase strip to that card as decoration and a little chipboard star. I had pulled these chipboard stars over from my stash. I think they were from the Outdoors collection from Ellie Edwards, and the colors just coordinated pretty well with this kit. And I like having that additional dimensional embellishment to add to my clusters of embellishments. I had considered adding one of the word phrase strips and a chipboard star to all of those loving cards, but it just didn't really make a ton of sense for a lot of the ones on the spread. So I did only end up adding it to a couple of them, but I do love how it turned out. Now you can see me stamping here in super high speed. I love alpha stamping. It takes a long time though, but it was a lot of fun and I enjoyed this opportunity to just create a little list of things that I love about October. So now I'm just going through and checking to see if there's any last minute embellishments I wanted. I embellished one more of those loving cards just because I wanted some balance because I hadn't embellished any of the ones on the right side of the spread. And now I'm just slipping everything into the pockets. That October card, I am going to go back and do the journaling off camera, but you'll be able to see what the completed spread looks like with that journaling blurred out at the end of this video. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. And as always, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate all of your support. Thanks.